Officially come to order. We've had our invocation. And the next on our is Ms. Mary Roberts. Where is Mary Roberts?
Mary,
Yeah. Ms. Mary wants to say a word as always. Let's give her a hand for being here again.
Thank y'all so much for letting us be here. If you guys don't know, I brought Ashley. Usually I'm a one-woman show, so tonight I have Ashley with me. So if you guys come to the restaurant, see Ashley. Really and honestly, there's a couple new faces, but if you guys don't know anything about us, a quick backstory is Mission Barbecue is the story of two best friends that had a love for barbecue and for our country. Both Mr. Bill Krause and Mr. Steve Newton retired early from the corporate world, so they spent about a year traveling. If you guys have been into the restaurant, all the different sauces on the table are actually all the different regions that they actually traveled to during that year. So after a year, they decided they're going to open their very first restaurant on 9/11/2011. They did that intentionally to have meaning and purpose to be able to give back, to serve and support our heroes in our community. And our heroes who we really pour back into is our military, fire, police, and EMS. That is who we give back to. So that is my sole purpose of my job, is to be here, is to take care of you guys, to tell you thank you for all that you do. I know that each and every one of you guys here spend countless hours volunteering to support the fire department here in Nashville. So please know from us, from myself, and from our Mission Barbecue team and our founders, that we truly are blessed to know you and to have this partnership and relationship with you guys. I always know that if there's anything that we need, I can just pick up the phone and call and know that you guys are going to take good care of us. So thank you for all that you do for the community. If you guys haven't been into the restaurant, come in. We do the national anthem every day at noon. Everything stops. It's the best 2 minutes of the day in our restaurant. Just a couple things I want to share with you guys. We're sitting at 107 locations. We're still spread out across 16 states all along the East Coast. We're looking probably to add another probably 10 restaurants before this year is up. We are going to expand west of the Mississippi starting next year, which is super exciting because this is our 10-year anniversary and this is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So we've had a lot of growth in our brand, even though COVID took a big hit on our business. So we're very excited to be able to expand and grow and be able to give back in the communities that we're going to expand to. So during COVID, our two founders decided we are going to start supporting a brand new charity. It's called the GWOT, the Global War on Terrorism Monument Memorial. It is right now just in the early phases of being planned. They have not even chosen a spot in DC yet, so they haven't even broken ground. So I tell people when you come in, this cup will be available, I believe through August, so the first part of August. So your $2 is going to go back and be a part of history. So this monument is going to go back and honor all of our lives that have been lost during terrorism during 9/11. So if you guys get an opportunity, come in. If you don't know, the cups sell for $3.99. $2 of it goes back directly to them. Starting August 11th through September 11th, we all know we never want to forget 9/11. That's an opportunity to come back. That money stays directly here locally. We split the charities between our local fire and police charity. Nashville 100 Club, and then the local 140 is who we give this money back to. So you guys, that's a great way to come back and give back to our community here. I want to share with you guys, I know we usually ask the truck to come out for Box 55 to come out and support us. So 9/11 this year, help us share this event on social media. It falls on a Saturday this year, so I imagine with it being the 20th anniversary that it's going to be. So we're hoping that we can make
What time do we need to be there?
I would say by 10.
10 o'clock?
10,
Okay.
10:30 at the latest. I think with the Saturday, I would say it's safer to be 10, just because we're going to try to see if the mall will allow us to block off the motor coach parking. We love to fight with the mall every year. If you guys don't know, they love to fight with us about, because there is no motor coach parking lot on 9/11 when that happens, because honestly, every department here in Nashville comes out and supports us, from our police, our fire, the ambulances are there, the sheriff's department, everybody truly that we have been able to touch out in the community throughout the year, they come out and support us. So this is a huge event for us, not only a day of remembrance, but a day to recognize you guys and thank you for all that you do. So we're doing a free sandwich to all of our fire, EMS, and our police officers. So help us share that. I'll send that JPEG and you guys can relax it out.
And I want everybody to be there. We'll have both trucks there, and if you haven't been, you need to be there. It's
We'll have a live
extremely nice
rendition of the
event.
national anthem too that day. One more quick thing I want to share with you guys. If you haven't signed up, we have the Hometown Heroes Club. It's an email club just for our fire, police, EMS. send you different goodies throughout the year. It's one email a month. I promise, I checked it out. It's one email a month. Y'all can double dip, sign up for the free chow for your birthday. On the month of your birthday, we send you an email for a sandwich of your choice. So I don't want to take up time because I know you guys have a meeting to get to, but thank you from myself. It's always a pleasure to come out here and hang out with you guys. Thank you for all that you do.
Mary, thank you again. Here. Great people, guys. Send your friends their way. I tell people all the time where Mission Barbecue is. So
Cool, Dad.
do that. That's right. All right, we'll get into the heart of our. Be a short meeting tonight. Should be. I need approval of the minutes. You should have those copies. Tom? I have a motion to approve, and I have a second by Susan. Discussion, seeing none, those in favor, raise your hand, please. Like sign, approval of the minutes. Finances?
Everybody should have a copy of the treasurer's report. Any questions, any discussion?
We're sneaking out of here.
Thank you again.
Thank you all.
Do you need help?
No, we're good. There's plenty of room left over. We left some to go boxes for you guys, so y'all help yourself.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We're gonna leave them for the firemen.
Love y'all.
Thank you.
Guys, take care. Be safe out there.
Any questions on the financials at all? We're in good shape. Anything outstanding there?
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
The United Way,
Are you a plant or what's the deal here?
what?
I'm kidding.
The United
There's always the one, somebody plants it in a board meeting. Somebody's got to ask a financial question. Go ahead, United Way.
Test him, Tom.
I noticed that we've been a couple months without it, and then there's 19 and 4. Is this a annual payment, a recurring payment, or do we know? Because it's
What line are you on?
The United Way MECC.
$19.04.
I know.
Yeah, that was some odd thing. It normally comes once a quarter. We should still get another payment this month or next month.
Are we getting a regular, good sized payment? Or
We haven't had one for a quarter. I don't think it's because, well, I know people had signed up because we got it in the first quarter. I think United Way is behind. While we're on that topic though, this is also the time though where we fill out the forms for next year. It's called MECC, Metro Employees Cooperative Giving Fund. And so I'll have that application done before the end of July, and we'll have some more discussion, but we need to push PD in particular and some of the other departments in Metro to participate with that. Any other questions on the treasurer's report? We'll talk fundraising in a minute.
Susan?
You did get the thing from Kroger's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just let you know that, the donations that people make at Kroger's using their Kroger card, we've increased that number, I think, to 35 people now, so,
Yeah, it was about
yeah, so.
$170 or
yeah,
something.
yeah. But the more people get on there.
No,
the
it's a
more money
good
goes
thing,
in.
just like Amazon Smile and other things like that.
Doesn't cost them a dime, just costs them
Right.
time.
Yep.
Use that card.
Yep.
All right, good. Thanks on that. Reports, grants. We're still holding grants.
Approval.
Oh, I'm sorry. Need to get
Please.
approval. I need a motion for approval, please. I got a second from Mr. Vidai, and Mr. Del Rio made the motion. Discussion. Seeing none, those in favor, raise your hand, please. Opposed, like sign. Approval on the financials. Committee reports, grants. Holding grants right now. We're doing so well, and people trying to give us free stuff that we're not going to use. We've got 2 grants. Memorial and anesthesiologist group that I know is looking for us, and as soon as we find something good that we need that we're not going to get free, we'll be moving in that direction. Technology, Austin.
Yes. So we got a few things to cover. We discussed last meeting radio etiquette, so I've got a printout here for you guys just to discuss real quick, if you would pull it out. So these are just a couple bullet points that I put together. Number 1 is think before you speak. So decide what you're going to say and who it's meant for. When transmitting, avoid pauses or saying if calling in an incident, have the address and all information ready before keying up. Number 2 is be clear. Your voice should be clear. Speak a little slower than normal and in a normal tone. Do not shout. Avoid having background noise such as music. If the siren's activated, roll the windows up so you don't blow the dispatcher's ear out. Remember that someone has to type all of what you're saying, so don't give them 3 paragraphs of information quickly and expect them to know what you said. Number 3 is keep it short. Avoid long and complicated sentences. If your transmission is going to last more than 15 seconds, call the fire quad directly on the ring down line. The phone number's there. If it's a fire-related incident, otherwise call 8600. Number 4, keying up. Ensure you're on the proper channel before you key up. Press the push to talk button and wait 2 seconds before speaking. Otherwise, your traffic may be cut off. So if you key up and it chirps and you start talking immediately, your first few seconds might get cut out. Listen for 10 seconds before you key up to make sure there's no conversation going on between units. Number 5 is speaking. Identify yourself and who you're speaking to. For example, when you key up, you should say Rehab 55 to B4 Dispatch, or Rehab 55 to Hermitage Hills Command, or whoever you're raising. Wait should be acknowledged. If you don't get a response after 10 seconds, try again. If you still don't get a response, switch to another channel, preferably Bravo 3. Once you're acknowledged, proceed with your traffic. Be clear on what you need. Never be vague. Number 6 is be professional. Remember that all radio transmissions are recorded. Assume that the fire chiefs, the public, and the news are listening. Use proper terminology. Show me en route instead of I'm on the way. Don't have personal conversations over the air, just business. And when you key up, just make sure you're clear on what you need. So instead of, hey, Rehab 55, can you put me on that fire? I'm on the way. Say, Rehab 55, can you add me to Engine 32's call or to the Hermitage Hills fire and show me en route? So those are just a couple things to keep them from having you repeat your traffic, to make us sound more professional on the radio. But that's pretty much it for that. The next thing I wanted to cover, we talked last week about missed pages. People aren't getting pages from dispatch. We kind of smoothed that out a little bit. But I want to go over, we discussed, Daniel and I were going to page incidents ourselves if we noticed the truck checked en route. I don't think that's really feasible, though. A lot of our incidents are late at night, and me and Danny are usually both passed out. So what I've done instead is I've made a template in I Am Responding. So if you guys want to pull your phones out and open the I Am Responding app and follow along, I'll show you how to do this. And basically what we're doing is when you're a driver and you check en route to a scene, if it's something you think you're going to need help on, you can send a message out to all the members, and there's a template saved, so you don't have to type all of it out. So if you go to the Messages tab in I Am Responding, and once you're on the Messages tab, don't hit the Compose button, but there should be 3 little dots in the top right corner. If you push that and select Templates, there should be one template saved, and it says Page.
Let Austin play one more time.
You gotta go to your Messages, and then if you hit that, well, I don't know what I did. Hold on.
Everybody got it?
I got fat fingers. Templates. And then you tap on that template, it will automatically pull up all the information dispatch sends, and all you'll have to do is plug in the address and the talk channel. And then you can hit send, and it'll automatically go to all the members. You don't have to select who to send it to or anything like that. It's already done for you.
Hey, do what? Now go back to that again.
All right, so
Like this is up here.
when you're on the templates page, if you touch on that template that's saved, it'll pull up a new message, and it already has all the information there. All you have to do is fill in the blanks.
Gotcha.
So you'll put in the address, the talk channel. If you know the cross streets, go for it. If not, don't worry about it. Any other information, like if you're staging somewhere, make sure you put that in. And then you just hit send, and it'll automatically go out, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You don't have to send that on every fire. If it's a fire that you don't think you're going to need help on, I mean, don't bother at 3 in the morning. But if it's something you think you might need some extra hands and you'd like some POV responses, then go ahead and send a message out using that template. And then the last thing is the personnel pictures. We've got mostly everybody, I think. If you haven't had them done, reach out to me or Randy, and we'll get with you and get them taken. I'm working on getting those uploaded to the website, and that's all we've got for technology.
Any questions for Austin?
I got one.
Where are
If
you?
you're a driver or a personal responder and you don't catch the address, is that ring down line a number you can call or?
Absolutely. Anytime you have a question regarding anything to do with the fire department, you can call the ring down line. It goes straight to B3 or B4.
Right.
So you don't have to deal with the call takers or the people that don't know what's going on. And you can talk to them. Now, if you're calling in a wreck or something, don't call that. Call 8600. But anytime you have a question about fire, absolutely, you can use that number. And don't give it out to the public. It's not a public line.
Also, if you call that number, they may try and challenge you to make sure that you are, make sure they know that you are a Box 55
Right.
member. Because if it's public calling or they think it's public calling, they won't provide case details.
Any other questions, comments? Austin, thank you. And also, Austin did a great job on our newsletter too. Clothing, Randy, you're online. Anything on clothing?
No, sir, nothing this time.
All right, safety, you gonna, anything now or later?
I got a couple things now.
All right,
Everybody remember, if you haven't done your Vanessa K3 training this year, let's try to get that done. It was due back in April, and we still got a few outstanding on that. We're continuing right now to work on the new driver certifications. We're kind of waiting on both trucks to get back in service so we can just get one. That way we can dedicate it. So you guys that are still, waiting on us, to get with you, hopefully within the next, week to 2 weeks or whenever we can get this thing back and get 2 trucks back in. And we're going to be using one of them to do the training. Just to give everybody an update, we're still working on this process to allow people to get certified in 3 months as opposed to the 6 months. It's a work in progress right now.
Whoa.
get back up there, buddy.
Susan's getting attacked by
It wasn't me.
Good catch.
But anyway, we still got that in the works right now. We're having to go in and change some stuff on the policies and procedures and the bylaws, and we're getting the training back up to date on that. So that's all I got now, Buck. I've got some other.
All right, logistics.
Yes.
This is very important about the truck.
Well, a couple things. Let you know, we finally got Gatorade in. We've been having little issues with Pepsi, but we finally got it squared away. We had a new guy that took over, but we picked it up 2 days ago, so we have a whole pallet of Gatorade. I have Dailies is going to drop off a whole pallet of water for us. We don't have to go get it. I was like, yes, when they told me that. So they're going to drop it off Monday at Station 7. So if you notice the water is getting a little low, we do have more coming in. We do have plenty of snacks. You guys saw the email that Austin sent out about keeping the Snickers and the Reese's in the red cooler, and then we have the Kind bars that's in there too. We do not hand those Snickers and Reese's out on site unless they ask for one. Then we will give it to them. We don't want to go and pass them out and give them a bunch of sugar. Chief went over that in the last meeting. Why? But with the truck wise, it's back at Mercedes now. They are actually putting the oil pan in. Hopefully we'll get the truck back tomorrow. Fingers crossed. If not, we should get it back Monday or Tuesday. The MEP system is still going to be down. I'm going to have to take the MEP system and send it back to Texas. So they're going to go through it and see if it's still working. If you guys didn't know, that the generator actually was screwed into the oil pan, so all the oil went into the generator. So hopefully we didn't lose that generator. We're going to have to purchase one of those too. Once we get that back, I'm going to be looking for a mechanic to actually install it back on our truck so we can get our MEP systems going. We might have to go to another state to have it done because there's only one mechanic that's in Tennessee, and that's with Midas. And they've already screwed a hole in it once, so we don't want them doing that again. So we're going to discuss that as a board members. What's that?
Road trip.
Road trip, yeah.
I'll volunteer to help transport it if need be. I'm flexible.
Thank you. Well, hopefully we won't have to do that. We're putting, I want to tell you ahead of time, we're putting Midas on notice. It's going to cost $6,000 at Mercedes.
No.
We don't think we ought to pay that. We think Midas ought to pay it.
What's
So
gonna,
we're putting them on notice, and then we'll see where it goes, that, they better pay this back.
well, if we have to replace that generator too,
It's gonna cost more than
that's
that.
gonna cost a lot more, for us, probably another $2,000 or $3,000 just for that generator. As far as that, hopefully we should be having the truck fully running in the next month or so, hopefully. The truck will be back in service though, since we got the oil pan on there. The MEP system will not work. One thing I want to share with you guys, if you guys are driving to support, the MEP system does work, but you need to make sure when you start the engine, it is turned off. Because if it's not turned off, it's just going to wind that engine and it won't start. So you want to make sure it's off. Once the engine is started, you want to turn it on, and it will charge everything up. I used the fans a couple weeks ago. They work perfectly fine. So that's about it with the trucks right now.
Can you do
Oh, I wanted to share one more thing
Got
too.
two things. Go ahead.
I want to give special thanks to Susan Meese. She went to sorry. She went to Lowe's and conned the manager down $50 and paid $10 for a shop vac for us. So we have a shop vac with all the little tools and everything. And
It's
she
hidden
only
behind the
paid-
door.
She only paid $10 for it.
And we got,
Thank you, Susan.
yeah, give her a hand for that, that's good. Did we put a sticker on it? I wanna make sure our stickers are on it, too. Okay.
Yes.
Speaking of the stickers, if I can enter in here,
Yes, go ahead.
you know, you had talked about putting that, the cooler with G0, with the G0 in it.
Yes.
Well, at your request, I've gotten letters to put on that cooler that says G0. And I'll be putting those on there, and then you also approved to put the sticker on all the other coolers. I've got those, it just depends when we got all the,
And when
trucks.
we do that, make sure the coolers are washed and cleaned
Exactly.
when we do it. They do get dirty as they go along, we need to clean them every so often.
But that's my.
By the way, and sometime in the early fall, we'll be having a cleanup night at 7 where we clean everything inside out, all the little crooks and crannies, and polish it up. Get ready for fall and winter.
Since I missed his birthday, you know, I apologize, and he apologized for not telling you earlier about the vacuum cleaner, so.
All right, anything else, sir? Any questions on the trucks, please? Logistics from that standpoint? All right, moving to membership, please. We have two.
Well, we have birthdays to announce first of all.
All right,
Joe's birthday was on the 11th. Anthony and Daniel's was on the 20th. Buck said he had a split personality because I had him in the Excel file being in December, but now he said it's actually July, so there you go.
Split personality.
It's fairly
And
kind,
also
actually.
Ernie on the 28th and Jimmy Klosser on the 29th. And we have two members getting their certificate tonight, and that will be Jacquees and Kathy Nelson. And Mike Goodall is going to take photographs presenting those.
like I said, Kathy Dalquise.
Kathy and Jacquees.
Dalquise here. Where
Those are getting your
Right, there he
certificates
is.
for
There
being
he
good
is.
members. Yeah.
All right, come up here, and we'll officially make it.
Buck, can you go out
here?
Oh, I can.
Get out there.
Let me, Dalquise get in the research. And,
Be sure and turn your certificate towards the camera too. Yeah.
yeah, turn it so they can see it. All right, little picture.
All right.
Smile.
Okay, gotcha.
Got it? Thank you. Give him a hand, folks.
Way to go, kid.
All right, we have one person to vote in this evening, Patrick Urban, and for membership.
And ask him to leave.
He's, would you just go around the corner or whatever?
When you ask him to leave so we can talk about him once he's gone. So. Mike, you take photograph?
Yep.
Our official
We'll
photographer.
get his picture right quick, and then we'll be right back. Congratulations, sir. You're in. There you go, sir.
All right, look over here, Patrick. Okay. Yes. One more. Okay, good.
You're welcome. I want to remind you that on September the 11th, which is a Saturday at 3 o'clock, Two Rivers Park, area number 3, we'll have all the picnic and so forth, and we're working on a little surprise for you as well. So you make sure you're there. Your family is welcome. We don't know most of our families. We don't get to see them, so this will be a good time to bring them. We will have to take a head count, so Ms. Del Rio will know exactly who she's feeding and so forth when that time comes.
You gonna sing for us at that?
I will not. The 9/11 program that morning is special. If you've never been down to the Symphony Hall, to the left side of it is a memorial. It's actually the sculpture of Chief Connolly, and they will do a special presentation. This is the 20th, so it's going to be a little more special. So if you hadn't been, you need to go. Wear your shirts. We'll have the trucks down there as well. It's usually around 10 o'clock. Mayor's Day, all that kind of thing that goes on. And then that afternoon at Two Rivers Park. Any questions about that? Historian, we're going to ask Susan to kind of take a lead on that right now, and I'll have some other things to say about that a little later. She has some stuff that I've given her to begin. Stop the Bleed class, be the September meeting. Unification project, Rick, we're moving on this. He mentioned what it was. I'll ask him to do that again and tell him where we are and the process we're using.
Tom's a big part of this as well. Austin's a big part of this as well. So Unication is a device that's a little bit bigger than a pager. It's a very high-tech receiver that's also can be a pager. It is a pager. It's a digital format. It can accommodate the trunk system. It can accommodate the what am I trying to say? The encryption. Okay, and they're not ridiculously expensive, and on the other hand, they're not cheap. They're in the $700-800 range. But as we're going to have difficulty getting enough radios for everybody who would like to have communication. The department is going to go encrypted here in the next few months. We know that for sure. And so the steps that are being taken is we're going to have Unication, which Tom's had one, I've had one. We actually gave one to Ed Sandoval. Ed's been carrying one and loves it and listens to it all the time. Unication is going to do an online meeting for the board where we kind of go through everything of what it takes to run it, on a really professional basis, as opposed to Tom or Austin and I programming one ourselves just for our use. And once we wrap our arms around that, then we're going to probably, and if we all agree walking away that that's the right solution, we'll get an audience inside ECC and present to them, we'd like to adopt this, we'd like to use this, because it does take their cooperation. Essentially, it doesn't require them to do anything, but it would be sending signals out of the CAD system to make it operate. And so then if we get their buy-in of, yes, we like that concept, then we'll go to Chief Swan and the administration of the department and get them to embrace the whole thing, because certainly they'll have to approve that. But it's a way to increase our communication. And on the receive side, it's just almost as good as a Motorola radio. Can't talk on it, but in terms of hearing and listening and all that, it's not a scanner, it's much better than a scanner. Tom, add anything? No. Got it? Okay. Austin?
Nope.
Questions? So we'll move forward just as quickly as we can move forward.
I've already called Unification, and I'm waiting on them to call me back for the appointment for us to have them do the full presentation.
Thank you, sir. I give you an illustration of a thing that happened to me the other day when I left Austin, because I think I did what Austin told us was better to do. My wife fell the other day, broke her wrist, went to the ER. She was operated on this Tuesday, but when we left the ER the day she broke it, we just pulled out of Skyline, and she had a seizure. And the seizure was in the car with me. She's dead weight. I've got to find a place to pull over to deal with that. And finally found a driveway into an apartment complex. Couldn't find the numerical whatever. Normally, if she has one, she has very few, but if she has one, I don't have to call 911. She comes out of it in less than 2 minutes, and she goes to sleep and rests a while, and that's it. But this time I needed help. She was dead weight. The ground was it was on concrete that was burning up. I wasn't going to lay her down on the ground. She would have had burns. So I called. I did what I haven't done before on any seizure she's ever had, and that is called I use my radio. And instead of saying 5502, you said one time they really don't know necessarily. I used Rehab 55. I used that term, Rehab 55. I need a medic unit at 3437 Dickerson Road. And they were right at the hospital, and they came right down there and were there in just about 2 minutes after I called in. Is that the way you want us to handle that kind of situation?
Yeah, absolutely. They don't have our call signs, and there's no way for them to force out Rehab 5502 on an incident. It's either Rehab 55 or Support 55 in CAD. So if you key up, either use Rehab or Support 55 and let them know. And like Chief said, he had the address and he gave it to them. If you're ever in a situation where you don't know the address, just call 911. We have a new technology called Rapid SOS that works with iPhones and newer smartphones. Within 2 seconds, we get an instant location on where you're at, and it's 95% accurate. And it gets more accurate as the call progresses.
You said you're the chief, and they would have been there.
But yeah, I mean, if you key up on your radio and you don't know where you are, we don't either. So you can describe the Taco Bell on the corner, but I don't come to Antioch, so I don't know what the Taco Bell looks like. And we get that from police and other responders all the time. So if you know where you're at, use your radio. If you don't, call 911 and we'll figure it out that way.
So from now on, we don't use our member numbers.
I would recommend not to when you key up, because they have no idea.
Not for that purpose. If we got like bombing and all that, we're going to go back to those numbers.
Well, I called in a car fire, and I used 5515, and she came back. Okay, we have 55. I said again, this is we have 5515. There's a car fire on Murfreesboro Road, Riley Parkway.
Been simpler though.
That's just going to confuse them. And I'll go back to the example I gave last meeting. When I was in a wreck, I keyed up as Rehab 5540. I've been involved in an MVA. I'm injured. I'm bleeding from the head. The other driver's injured. And they didn't hear Rehab. They heard 5540. They thought it was a police officer, so they sent up a code 5000 for an officer laid out on the interstate.
Yeah, that's the problem.
So 10 Goulitsville cars show up, and they're like, "Oh, we thought you were a cop." I'm like, "No, I just got a little scratch on my head. I face planted the steering wheel."
So if the rehab or the support are both in a fire, and we can as Rehab 55, that would confuse them, right?
It could. So I would recommend using Support 55 usually as the go-to, because it's rare that both trucks are on a scene at the same time. And I mean, if it confuses them, we don't care what CAD says, and the fire department probably doesn't either. As far as how long Rehab or Support's on scene, we track it all through the run sheets, and I'm responding. So if they clear you off the fire, it's not the end of the world. We know we're out there taking care of them. So.
Engine 33.
And we could try to train dispatchers, but that's a whole different battle.
I think that's a better way of doing it. It made it simpler for me too, to do it that way.
Well, the day I had my wreck, I had the radio and I called in and, they responded and lo and behold, here comes to the church parking lot, the box 55, the rehab, with Daniel and Quincy, and, sirens flashing, lights flashing, sirens going to take to my rescue.
We did not come with no dark lights and sirens. That's
But they were going
And another good thing to keep in mind, if it's not life-threatening, use your phone. Unless you're on the truck. If you roll up on a minor crash, just call it in or tell them to call it in. Because a lot of times, it's a lot of work for the dispatcher to send the call to police. So you may as well just call in instead of causing all that confusion. Now, obviously, in situations like his or in life-threatening situations, you need them there quick. Use your radio, do what you have to do. But a homeless guy wigging out on the corner, washing himself in the hydrant, don't bother with that. Just call it in. We had that. Actually, I've got pictures. But
Well, I lost control of the meeting on that one. The next thing on the agenda is coins available. We'll remind you, this is what Kelly Napier, firefighter, our paramedic, fixed for a lot of people. It's got Nashville Fire and OEM on one side, only the strong on one side. It's got symbols of tornado, all the things that happened in Nashville recently. The other side, it's got I Survived 2020, Nashville 20C, and it's got a dumpster on it. I still got a few. All that money's coming back to us anyway, so these have been paid for, except you'll be paying back actually the club. So I've still got a few. If you're starting collecting these, years ago it used to be patches everybody collected. Now this is what everybody's collecting. We're still going to be working on the anniversary coin in the next few weeks, and looking toward the $10 on all these. So see me afterwards if you need one. Any further old business? Seeing none, new business. The only thing I had, next meeting is Engine 11. Engine 11 is at Buckhannon and right off D.B. Todd. And it's park in the back. Do they have a sign now? I've been to the news station, but it's been so long. Do they have a side parking lot? Anybody remember?
No, it's in the back.
Everything in the back. Yeah, it's hard. It's everything in the back, and as you know, down the street from Dodge City.
I would say vests are recommended.
yeah, lock your doors.
Yeah, lock your doors, vest, sir.
You can use the side of the Dollar
Take your
General
gun in,
lines
will
up with the fire hall over on as you're coming into the station, right there on that same outside of the bush, there's another line of parking that.
All right. So anyway, we'll mention that. Also mention that when we.
We're waiving the firearms policy for that meeting. No, I'm just kidding.
Strike that, and then go in a minute. All right, safety officers. Excuse me.
Did you want me to do fundraising?
Oh, did I not get? Oh, most important thing right now.
No, not necessarily.
No, it is. Fundraising, please.
Okay. All right, so not a lot going on, but we received the $5,000 from AT&T as a separate grant. We got $3,700 from AT&T as a result of the yard sale that they did, which is tremendous. All that was done. The money and the activities that are outstanding is the money from the crawfish boil has not come to us yet. So that's still outstanding. I told you that I'm filling out the application to re-enroll us in the MEC Cooperative Giving, which I believe, Austin, then it starts September 1st?
That sounds right.
15th, something. It'll start in September. A number of us participated at the Nashville Super Speedway in that event where we actually worked, similar to like we would have worked at Nissan Stadium. I believe that'll be about $2,000, and we've not received that yet. That's still in the mix. And the board has decided that we will go back to the fairgrounds. Those of you that have been around a while remember that we used to have a booth 4, 5, 6 months out of the year at the fairgrounds, and we would sell Christmas ornaments and shirts and a variety of things. And so we'll line up a booth for the months of October, November, and December. And the main purpose will be to try and sell all the Christmas ornaments that we've got from, I want to say it's actually 2019.
Come on.
It's either 2019 or 2020. We've got 550 or something of those ornaments left. It's a bunch.
Yes.
And
At discount.
shirts and cups and a variety of things. And we'll promote that heavily online, you know, on our web store and Facebook and all that kind of stuff. But we'll do that for October, November, December. And I think that's kind of all of it. I don't have any intent of putting us into any other fundraisers through the end of the year. If we could be real successful at that, it's been a great year. It's been a home run, you know, terrific.
And HCA in Sarah Cannon is also working on some stuff for us online with Amazon. So we'll be announcing that as soon as our wish list goes on there. And Austin will be meeting with a young lady, one of the firefighters' wives is introducing that to us. So.
And Lewis just made a good point. If the coins aren't gone, we'll do the coins at the fairgrounds as well.
That's great. Good point. Thank you. All right, safety officer, sir.
Yeah, guys, I wasn't here last month, but unfortunately we had an incident last month. You can either call it an incident or an accident. The bottom line, we did some damage to one of our vehicles. It cost us a little bit of money to get it fixed up. So the type of accident we had, we hit a stationary object on Sevens over in West Nashville. I go back and I look at the root causes that caused this, and we failed to be aware of the terrain and the surroundings over there. And for whatever reason, this individual was turning and maneuvering around on property. He got one of the rear tires, made contact with one of the curbs and bent the wheel on it. So it did some damage, cost us a little bit to get it fixed up. I also heard another deal where this individual may have also been trying to enter something into the iPad, and I am responding. So those are, kind of the two root causes here. Some of the ways that we would be able to prevent things like this. And I've still been a big proponent on talking to you guys about backing in as much as you can everywhere. And the reason being, whenever you pull up to a situation, you're getting the big picture there. You can see everything that's going on. You can check your mirrors, see what's around you, and then when you make your back, you're going to back in at that point. You've already looked. You check for hazards, getting a good look at them. You check for overheads, for any wires, any kind of canopies or anything that might be hanging down. And you've also checked the ground for anything, you might be running into. But backing up, you want to make sure that you maintain space all around your vehicle. Always being aware of hazards, so whenever you get out of your vehicle in that situation, you can walk around it. Whenever you go back to your truck, then it's always good to do a walk around the truck just to see. And once again, you've kind of cleared things up. There's been so many situations, you'll see people in parking lots, they'll be pulled in, they'll be nosed in, it'll be two older ladies or whatever at the grocery store where they start backing out or whatever, and they make contact. There's a lot of accidents that are caused in these parking lots and places. So if at all possible, let's try to get that thing, backed in as much as we can. We can't always do this whenever we go to a fire scene because we gotta, get in line behind the equipment. But if at all possible, let's try to back this thing in. Always back first. This is what I'm trying to say there. Another thing, always follow up in your mirrors whenever you're making any kind of turns. Being mindful of where that rear pivot point's at back there. So as you're turning that vehicle, look back there, see where your rear tire's at, otherwise known as your pivot point. Make sure you're not getting into a curb or getting onto something or getting too close to an object where you might hit it. You also want to avoid being distracted. If there's any kind of electronic devices you're trying to use, whether it be radios, iPads, or whatever it might be, it's always a good idea, pull over on the side of the road, take care of your business on the side of the road. If you're out on a long, straight line somewhere, it's not too bad to reach over and do something, but if you're in heavy traffic or in a confined space or whatever, it's always a good idea to pull over and check things out and take care of your business on the side of the road. Distracted driving. 1 in 5 distracted driving accidents result in injuries. a lot of times these injuries are pretty severe. I recall one incident, back when we were at work, as two kids coming back from college in Memphis. They had stopped at the mall down there. They purchased a CD. They were en route back to heading back east on I-40. They got around Jackson or whatever, and the little girl was driving. She reached over trying to get the CD to work, and next thing you know, she had moved over into another lane, got into a truck tire of a vehicle in the right lane. Well, when she did, she ping-ponged off of it, went across the interstate, and I think she flipped the car a couple of times, got hit by another vehicle. So bottom line, this little girl, she ended up had permanent brain damage from it. So, a lot of times these things are quite severe whenever they happen that way. They say they have 9 deaths a day that occur as a result of distracted driving. So again, it's deadly, if you get out there, and can be kind of detrimental to you or someone else. Once again, we kind of reiterate the fact, don't be texting and driving out there, don't be fiddling with your radios and things like that. Distracted driving can occur from sources such as visual, auditory, manual, or cognitive. Visual, if you're driving down the road and you happen to look over on the side, you might see this homeless guy taking a shower on the corner that Austin was talking about. But that would be an example of visual. Auditory, if you get out, a lot of loud sounds coming from your radios, or you got somebody in there screaming, or people talking to you, really getting your attention, would be an example of that. Manual would be just an example, of fiddling with your radio, your telephone, or whatever it might be, eating food or whatever, dropping your food down. And of course, cognitive, and that's just when you get out and get to daydreaming, not paying attention to what you're doing, and next thing you know, you're distracted, you've been in a serious accident. 8 tips to manage distracted driving: no cell phone usage, and bottom line, if you do have your Bluetooth, in your cars and things, that can even, kind of get you distracted at some points, but it's not as bad as punching numbers in your phone or whatever. If you have a right seat driver, passenger over there with you, listen to them. They would kind of help you, maneuver. So just pay attention to your passengers in there. No entertainment devices. Consider sterile cab policy. No eating while driving. No personal business taken care of in there, because again, that's a big distraction for us. No personal device usage. All occupants must focus anytime, especially, if you're, running emergency, to a scene or something. Everybody's got to pay attention and, kind of give you feedback. And of course, the last one here is always drive defensively, just pay attention, to what you're doing out there. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to touch on, kind of review our incident that we had last month. It'd be kind of a shame, if we get out there, somebody else does the same thing once again. So let's just be cautious. And again, back that truck into spaces as much as you can. That's all I have.
And the engine 7 does have a convoluted way in the back side back there. There's a kind of a concrete embankment that comes out, and you really got to understand it and know it to get around it, so be careful. Out front, we used to back the trucks in all the time from the front because we used the bay there. And that tree to the left, there's a tree as you come out, and it makes it kind of a little right turn. There's a tree right there. We had a member hit that tree, backing it in, so be careful about that as well. Just briefly for me, a number of fires. I think we've had quite a few recently this time of year, and some pretty good ones. Done a good job on it. Main thing is take care of them early. If they're laying out there when you get there, get on it. Don't worry about snacks and all that kind of junk. Get the towels out, get the water to them, get the Gatorade to them, and get them cooled down. So that's the main thing. Dangerous time of year for firefighters. So let's make sure we're on it. We're doing a good job, and I think I've been pleased with what I've seen recently. Train wrecks. We had a train wreck in Goldsville the other night, supposedly. They chased it around. We do make train wrecks generally, especially if there's a car or another two trains hit each other, something like that. They're peculiar in terms of finding where the body is. It could be a mile down the track, and usually the firefighters or paramedics are having to run, walk a long way to find the person if they can find them, or don't know where it is. So listen before you go. Make sure it really is a good train wreck, that people are going to exert themselves. That's what we're there for. If they're not exerting themselves, then and don't find anything, there's no reason to particularly go. Jumpers off the bridges, same kind of incident. They're jumpers and they're jumpers. There's some who swim to the side, some who don't swim to the side. So you got to kind of listen, think about who's responding, whether they're exerting themselves or not, and so forth. Sometimes it's only the boats, and you're not going to be able to get to the boats. OEM's there; they'll call us anyway. And
some jumpers just steal a delivery truck and hold the police at bay for 2.5 hours.
yeah,
I saw her do that.
yeah. When I was chief, I had a call at 6:30 one morning, Sunday morning. It said, Chief, when the ambulance had been stolen by a guy who broke out of the psychiatric ward at Vanderbilt, and he went down to the ER and took one of your ambulances. And I said, well, call me when you find him. So about an hour and a half later, he drove all over West Nashville, and they found him. He pulled up in a cul-de-sac in an apartment complex, parked that thing between two cars, backed it in. You know how big an ambulance is. I don't know how he got out. He parked that thing directly between two cars, not a scratch on it. When I got there, the police officer said, "You're going to have him arrested?" I said, "No, sir, I'm going to car him." I said, "I've got paramedics that can't park an ambulance that well." So he got tickled at me, but anyway, that was one of my stories from chiefing days. Core values: safety, service, and professionalism. I will say something about it every meeting from now on. Service is what we're all about. We're there to serve, and we're doing a great job. You know they appreciate us. I don't go anywhere, in fire hall, anywhere else, they say something about the Buffs and what the Buffs do, and glad to see you guys show up and all that kind of stuff. They really appreciate it. Spoil them. We spoil them anyway by going up there, but spoiling them makes a difference. Captain Bill Curran, who is the captain, he's the hall mama. The hall mama is the guy who is over the whole hall. They elect one of their captains to do that, but he's what shift is A shift. I didn't know this. Rick told me his mother passed away. Visitation tonight. I think the memorial service is tomorrow morning. I did not know it. My wife's been in the hospital, so I wasn't even aware of it. And I didn't mention him in prayer. But Bill's a great guy. Loves the Buffs. Will do anything for. I don't go out there. He doesn't help me wash or carry something or whatever. Yeah. He does.
Do you have any details on that service in the morning?
Rick,
I believe, now there was a message went out, I thought everybody got it. If I remember correctly, visitation is 10 to 12 with the Catholic Mass at 12 noon. It's at St. Edward's on, for argument's sake, 181 Thompson Lane. It's right off Thompson Lane and Nolensville Road.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay?
That's real, that's how it's.
But it did go out, and I believe it's 10 to 12, and it was 2 to 8 tonight with a rosary tonight, and then 10 to 12 tomorrow, visitation with the Mass at 12.
Mike, since you've returned, did you have the police alerts and you're probably not getting the text messages because you had them turned off while you were gone.
Yeah, I'm getting them now.
Okay.
It would have been from Sissy Boatman.
Sometimes they come under other, where it goes like to and other.
Sends out a
In fact, if we look in the archive, it's probably in the
I thought I had all my emails caught up, but I didn't see that.
I saw Bill today, and he was in good spirits, but again, like Buck said, everybody remember them, think about them, pray about them.
Emergency phone call.
A great guy. Those guys out sevens are great. They really take care of us, and
And his son Billy is at engine 13 on the hazmat.
Yes, he is. That's
He was
correct.
the one that helped us get that new ice maker out there.
Yes, yes, he was. He's great. He's great.
Anytime we pull in, he's like, "Need any help?
I know.
Need any help?
First thing he
What do you
says.
need?"
All right, round table. Anybody need to raise your hand if you need to say something? Susan first.
I always have something to say, as Alan says. We just need to keep Buck and Sandra in our prayers. You know, Sandra has had surgery on her broken arm, and she obviously fell again today and had stitches. So we need to keep her hope for a speedy recovery, and also so she recovers quickly, so Buck won't have to do more housework.
Amen. Amen.
You want to get a second on that?
I wanna. Are you done?
Well, yeah.
Your time.
Oh, I want to give special thanks to Ernie. He has been my Uber for the past 2 weeks of running the trucks all around town and moving things and taking me to this station and taking me to Brentwood. And then we went out to Murfreesboro one day.
What do you mean?
Hey, Ernie.
He's been a great help, and I really appreciate that. And I just want to say these past 2 alarm fires that we've had this past week, I really enjoyed working with everybody. Everybody worked together. We were all a team, and everybody was there taking care of the firefighters. And that's what it's about. As we're family and we help each other. And it was great working on both of those scenes with everybody that went out.
Good, appreciate it. Anybody else? Hand up, Paul.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna be next month's meeting at all because of work and everything, but if I am, that will be my last meeting for probably about 2 months because September 15th, I'm having shoulder surgery and I'm not gonna be able to drive about 3 weeks.
I got you. Thank you for telling that and remind us of that when that takes place.
I'm here.
Yes.
This kind of goes back to technology, but we had that Channel 10 issue a few weeks ago, and where they put the call at nighttime on Channel 10 instead of 6 or 8. So how do you monitor 6, 8, 10, and 12?
Have you been, do you have a radio?
I have a radio.
Okay. I'll show you on mine. If anybody needs to know how to set up your scanning channels, I'll show you after the meeting on mine. Typically, I set mine to scan 6, 8, 10, and 12.
Okay.
Because if they have rollover on 6 and they don't clear it for God knows how long, then they have something else on 8, then they'll go to 10. And those other 2 channels might not be occupied anymore because it's not an active scene, but some dispatcher forgot to clear it, and so it keeps going up the list and so on.
And I had the truck that evening, and when I got to the fire, they were confused. There was something happened up there. I was not able to even pursue it, but they were late sending the air truck. He didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and so there was some confusion up there a little bit. I don't know whose fault it was. We covered it and we were there in time and so forth. So
Is that the one they thought the air truck was going?
They didn't send a RIT team, and then an hour later they came back and asked for an air truck, and the dispatcher's like, "Oh crap!" and sends a whole RIT team. Like at this point, they just need an air truck.
Make sure you're checking the service because Austin will sit there and keep going, box 55, box 55.
Yeah, if Danny's on the truck and he doesn't check in, then yes.
he will keep us honest.
I will check all of the police channels for you too, just to let them know. Dispatch to Daniel Rose.
Take all ears.
Dr. Rose.
Keep them honest, Austin. Keep them honest. All right.
That's another one. Watch for hot mics.
Yeah, we had a hot mic.
Daniel had one the other day for about 5 minutes.
It was not no 5 minutes.
It was a good 3. It was a good 3.
It was closer to 5. That happens. That's the first time that's probably happened in years. Box being on there.
Couldn't happen to a better person than Mr.
I know.
Daniel over here, Mr. Rose.
All right, I appreciate you being here this evening. Thank you. And let's try to leave what we can for the firefighters on the food. And so I need a motion to adjourn. Paul and then Tom got the second. On that, those in favor of adjourning? Opposed? Thank you. See you at engine 11.
Let's clean up, Chief.
Yeah, hey,